Okay, Les Arnott here. Welcome to another photo train video. And what we're looking at on this video is some of the effects that you can actually get from the Google collection, which is a free plugin filter that you can actually download off the internet, and there's details in that in our magazine where to download it from. And we're just going to have a look at one of the filters that you actually get with this. And first of all, we'll just need to know how to access that. So I'm actually in Photoshop at the moment. I'll go to Filter on the menu, and on there you will see the Nick collection. And here you've got a list of the different things. So you can see you've got Analog Effects Pro 2, Color Effects Pro 4, Define 2, HDR Effects Pro, Sharpener Pro, Silver Effects Pro, and Vivisa, which is a little small program for doing quick, simple things. So we've got all these different plugins. Some of the more powerful ones, probably Color Effects Pro 4 and HDR Effects. We're just going to have a look at the Color Effects Pro 4. So we click that, and that will then analyze the image and bring up the filter menu. And this is really what we want to study, so the layout and how things actually work within the program. Now straight away when you open the program, if you've used the program before, the filter, it will probably put an effect straight away onto your picture. It could be anything basically that you was probably on last. So I'm just going to delete that. So looking at the right hand side of the screen, you can see I've got dark and light and center there. And at the end I've got a little X, and we'll just click that. So now we've got absolutely no filters applied to the photograph. So now we're going to concentrate on the left hand side of the screen, and basically what we've got here is a library of different effects. And at the top we've got all, and that then allows you to see all the effects going down the left hand side. You can scroll down, you can see every single one that they produce. And you've got other categories. Basically, some of the filters that are on here, some will be more applicable to a landscape, so it just gives you a shortened list of things that may apply to a landscape, or a wedding, architecture, favourites. We'll talk about that later. There is one there on there, one of my favourites that I've actually put on there. Nature, portrait and travel. So it's just a way of getting a quick list of things that might be, things that you want to use for these particular type of photos. I'm going to go back to all. And the way you apply the filter basically is you click on one of these. So let's just select one, we'll click the top one. So whatever you click on the left hand side, it then applies that filter to your image. Also on the right hand side we've got sliders, so we can change the effect by dragging the sliders. We can change the strength on this filter and the brightness of the filter, how much contrast we want on the image. So you've got all these different sliders that allow us to play with the image. Now we'll talk about that later. Let's concentrate basically first of all on the left hand side. If you was to select another filter from the left hand side, it replaces the one that you had previously. But also you can stack these effects. So we'll just see how to do that. So if I go back to the black and white and I adjust this on the right hand side, we'll take that up. Just so we wanted something like that. I can then click at the bottom where it says add filter, and then I can apply another effect. So we'll put colorize. And you can then see I've got two effects that are actually stacked on the right hand side. So it allows you to build up what's called a recipe of filters that are stacked, and you've got full control over any of those. If I go back to the black and white one, I can click on there and I can change things on there. I can go back to the colorize one and I can do the strength, shadows for instance, and the highlights. So I can build up a complete catalogue, a complete library of these different effects to apply to the photo all in one go. So again, let's take these off. And to do that, we click the little X. So we're back to square one. We'll have a look at some of the other things on there. Let's just have a look at, look, we've got Indian summer, which basically gives you like an effect to create like an autumn effect. It enhances the foliage. You can go from anything on the slide, it's probably a bit more natural like that. You've got different methods to apply, so it gives slightly different colour tones, and you can see that as I move the mouse over there, straight away it will give you a preview of what it's going to look like. And that's fantastic, the power of this program, really, especially when you get it for free. It's completely free to download. So okay, we'll stick with that. So let's say that was the effect we want. So you can build up. I say if you was to click on another one, it would replace this one, or you can click add filter to add another to the library of the effects that you want to apply. And they are called, as I said, recipes. So basically you put in different ingredients on the right hand side and you'll save in those complete things as recipes. And if we look, there's also recipes that are actually on the left hand side. So some they've created. So let's click on recipes. And when I click on one of these, it says adding a recipe will replace all the filters currently applied. So I'll just say yes, we'll do that. Now you can see from the right hand side now, it hasn't just put one filter on there, it's put a whole recipe on there of different effects. So we've got the tonal contrast, and again I could turn that off. So well, I don't like that too much, I could turn that one off. Now I could go to the detail extractor and say, well, I want a bit more detail on there. I could drag that up, I could bring the contrast down or whatever, or add saturation to it. So I've got total control over each one. I can go to this area, I can change the light intensity, so this is the reflector. You can either make your pictures look great or you can make them look terrible. So there we go. There's lots of different things we can do on this, the light fall off and whatever. We can go to the levels and the curves and we can change the levels and the curves. We can bring it darker, or we can add another point and drag and get all these type of effects. Colorize, so maybe there I don't want that, I can take that off. So the colorize is giving it that effect. So we can check what's happening, and we can turn off or turn on things that we just by adding these ticks to the boxes. Okay, I'm just going to take all these off again, so you can see I can delete some of the effects and leave some on, and then it may be, oh well, I like it with just these things on, and I want to save the recipe. And if you click on save recipe, that would save those filters that was applied as a recipe in your own little library, where you can actually build up your own library of effects that you want to save all in one go as such. Just take these off, back to square one. So that's a recipe, and we can go to back. You can see we're still on recipes there. You've got custom ones. Custom ones are ones you create yourself, so you can see there's none in there. I haven't created any. Ones you can import, so you can import recipes from different positions, favorites, recently used, sample recipes. So you've got the samples there. Okay, so that gives us this effect. Again, we can go to those and we can move some down or whatever. So really nice way of applying effects. There's a lot more to it, and we will look at those things. And I'm just going to take these off again. I'm going to delete these. And we click back on the top there to go back to all the different categories. So we're on all again now. So now we've gone out the recipes and we're back to the straight effects on the left hand side. I'm just going to select this one, detail extractor. Okay, and I'm going to adjust this. So basically this top slider will give it more sharpening effect. The middle one adds more contrast. The bottom one adds more saturation. Okay, fine. But what if I only wanted to apply that to a little bit of the image? Then we can use what are called control points. And the control points are located here. You've got a plus and a minus. So maybe, okay, well, I've applied that, but I don't really want so much on the sky. So I could click on the minus there, click on a point, and you get these two little slider bars. This one selects a larger area. This one, the opacity, so I can bring a little bit back in if I want. So I can have a little bit of the effect coming through. I can have all the effect, or I can take it down to nothing. So that's what that slider is. So I'll just add about 27% on that. And that will take off the effect that much. Add another point, so I can say, well, I don't want this bit up there, I want to take that off a little bit, but I want to bring a bit of the opacity back, so I can click there and I can drag this slider up and just bring a bit back in on there. So you can actually apply to where you want it on the image. If you use the plus, basically it takes off a lot of the points when you click. And adds it to the area more powerful where you put the plus on there. Okay, so you can see you've got total control. Okay, we've done that. We could then apply another filter. So if we click on add filter, we can go to something else. Let's just have a look. We'll go to one. Let's add a little bit of, we'll use, let's have a look. We've got graduated natural density, which will make it darker at the top of the screen to enhance your skies. If we increase that, you can see it starts to affect the building quite badly there. So I can click the minus on the control points, click on the building and take out that point. When I drag it up there, you can see that it's not affecting that point. It's only affecting the sky in the background then. You can bring the vertical shift down, so that would bring the, you can see coming all over all the image now, or I can take it up, so it's just affecting higher up on the sky. You can rotate it if you needed to, if your sky was, if you've got mountains or something, you wanted to rotate it so it wasn't hitting the top of the mountain, you can do all that. So the rotation gives it this effect, so it's coming on the right hand side now, and if I drag it that way it's coming on the left hand side. If I put it in the middle or double click it at 180, it's applying it to the top. There we go. And we've also got an upper tonality and a lower tonality, where I can make the bottom brighter, for instance, and I can make the top darker, but it's still not affecting this area where I've put that control point with a minus on. When you're happy and you've basically selected what you want and you've used your sliders, then you apply that. So we click on OK at the bottom right and we wait. So now it's processing the file. It also does something quite nice that I actually like about this. Is if you duplicated your layer in the first instance of the image, which I usually do, it will actually bring this on as a new layer without destroying your original layer. So if we look at the layers, you see when I always duplicate the layer when I first start doing anything like this. So I actually duplicated the layer there. I now got the effects on the top. So if I thought that was a little bit powerful, I can go to the opacity of the layer and I can bring it down to something more pleasing. So I want to apply that much to it. So it's nice if you've got it on a separate layer. And for other reasons as well, it could be that you could add a mask to that and you can paint out areas that you didn't want the effect on at all, and just with a lot more control than actually in the program where you're using the control points. So a fantastic set of filters that basically cost you absolutely nothing. You can go to Google and download those for free. The link is in the magazine, so make sure you check the magazine out and see just how good they are for yourself. Try them out basically, and you've got nothing to lose, no cost.